Yes. Hey guys, we are here at a special event at my house. We have a National Executive Director, Claudia Bazaar. Let's give it up for Claudia. And we have Gigi. She's like a little bit on a sugar high because we have sugared her up. And we have a hot crowd in the house. Let's say hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hi. So what I figured we would do is we would start, well, Claudia can just say whatever the heck she wants because this is all on Claudia. And then I know there are specific questions that you guys came up with, so I want to get to as many as possible. And we're going to have people taking notes. And again, this video will stay in our team page. Hello, Samantha, Lori, Erin, hi. So Claudia was just about to start, but I just want, before she gets into whatever the heck she was saying, she's young, she'll remember. I want to know, like, how we came to have a national in the house because it's pretty special. It's pretty special. Tell them your journey.
Oh, you want to go there? Right
Yeah, like, I mean, like
okay.
the abridged version.
Do you want to make sure that they can hear me, though, from all the way over there?
It's yeah, for sure. Well, do you want to sit here then and like be really close? Hey Beth, can you guys confirm that you guys can hear us okay?
Do you have it plugged in?
Yeah, I got it plugged in. Yeah, I got it plugged in. Yeah, I do.
All right, just ask them if they can hear me if I talk.
Can you hear Claudia if she just talks in her normal tone? Please double, somebody reply. Come on, Samantha. Beth, come on, thumbs up. Give me some love. Come on. Come on. I have no idea. Can someone go on their phones and double check, right?
I just wonder if it's too far for a live. Yeah. I just want to make sure before you.
It's all right. Then you're gonna swap.
Well, just read that and sit next to Laura.
She just talks in her normal tone. Go ahead, Claudia. Say something.
Can you hear me?
Somebody reply. Come on, Samantha.
Yeah.
Come on, thumbs up. Give me some love. Come on. How about you sit here just in case? Sheila, can you swap with her?
You can just wait for the delay to catch up.
Yeah, that's probably better though. Then that way they can at least.
Okay. Or Sheila, you could sit there in the middle.
In the middle where?
Right there. Okay, monkey in the middle. Okay. Okay, all right, we can definitely hear you now. Okay, so I give you National Executive Director Claudia Bazaar. Take it away, girl.
Anybody know my story already? So I don't have to say?
But I'd like to hear it again.
Okay.
Heard it at National.
Yeah, so Claudia was our National Executive Director since now it's been over a year.
And you're
so
12. Can't
now
take
I'm
it.
12. No, I'm 34, 86, right? Were you born in
I'm 85.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's when I started dating Joe. 1986.
That's when I was
Wow. Okay.
So anyway, so actually you guys, today is my 10-year anniversary with
Tanti auguri.
Grazie. So I was 24 years old when I moved to the States. So I met my husband overseas in Germany. That's where I was raised and born and everything. But just because I was born in Germany doesn't make me German. That's not how it works over there. So my parents are Italian. So that's why sometimes people get confused. They're like, I thought you were from Germany. I am, but my parents are Italian, so I speak both. So I met my husband over there, and he was in the military. So we moved to the States, and I think within couple months, my neighbor knocked at my door and she's like, hey, I'm at a favorite chef party, you want to come over? And I'm like, what is that? I don't know what that is. So she's like, here's a catalog, look. So I actually looked ahead and I was like, okay, being Italian, I'm like, I could go there, I can get a pizza stone and Twixes. That's all I can afford. It was like $40 or something. So I went to the party and it was fun and it looked like fun. And it was a pretty new girl and she was very well trained. She's like, have you ever thought about doing something like Pampered? I'm like, no, but it looks like fun. So she's like, okay, I'm still kind of new, but can we set up a three-way chat with the lady that's helping me and we can talk? So I went home that night. I told my husband, he kind of just like rolled his eyes and he's like, yeah, right, because that's ever going to work. So when I actually was ready to sign up, my upline, Donna Landy, was like, okay, so, we're going to order your kid. So what's your social security number? And I'm like, oh, I don't have that yet. I had just moved here. I was like, I'm still waiting on my green card. And she's like, okay, well, call me in 6 months when you have it. And she probably thought like, you're right, this lady's crazy. She's never going to call me. So 6 months later, I went to go find that consultant that did the show. And that was before, I don't even think Facebook was around then, but I emailed her, called her, she didn't answer. But I had an email from Donna when we set up the call. So I called her and I said, hey, this girl's not here anymore. can I sign up with you? And she's like, sure. So anyway, so that's kind of how it started, and I was very, I wish a lot of guys could have known me back then, like very shy, a complete different person. I'm still very shy compared to like her. Like I'm still we were talking to people out and about and doing pictures, and I'm like, no, like that's still not my thing, right? So totally different person. But I started with cooking shows. I had nobody when I started. I had 5 friends, I think. So I did my own party, and then one of them had a party, and then it very slowly started from there. So I didn't have any family to reach out to because my family wasn't there. There wasn't any virtual parties back then, so it was very, very slow. I did, however, I don't know how I did it. I promoted to director within 6 months, or 9 months, but it was mostly because of Donna's help. Like, she did my launch party, she found someone at my party that wanted to join, and then it just she helped me, and I mean, I'm sure I did something, but I don't remember. So I was a director for like 2 years. I was very part-time, like maybe one or 2 cooking shows a month.
And why is that? Just because you were...
I just didn't know what I was doing.
Just because,
I mean,
thought it was a choice that you didn't...
Right,
okay.
I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have enough contacts.
Was that while you were a director, you were only doing 1 or 2 shows a month?
I think the month I promoted, I probably did like 4 or 6 shows. But then I had my team doing shows too. So, sometimes it magically just kind of all aligns. So back then, when I actually signed up, I was 6 months pregnant with my first, not her, my other one. And I was working, and I did decide to go back to work full time because I've always been a worker, and I tried the stay-at-home mom thing. It was it wasn't for me. Like, I felt like I needed something else. So I did go back to work, and then...
What did you do? Tell them.
Oh, I used to be a travel agent. So, that was my other hobby. And I love it. There was nothing wrong with it, and I did it for years after I came back to the States. But then when I got pregnant with her, I was still working full time, and then when I had to put them both in daycare, and it was costing me $800 a month, and I had to work 40 hours a week, and I had to drop them off at like 6 in the morning and pick them up at 4. I was like, I'm not feeling it. Like, I just didn't feel that half my income was going to daycare, and I was just kind of gone most of the day. And then back then I did pick up my business. I was pretty consistent doing 2 cooking shows a week, and I realized that, hey, if I just did that 2 or 3 cooking shows a week, I could stay home and I wouldn't even have to put my kids in daycare. But I still needed something. Like, I still needed to leave the house. Like, I couldn't just be a mom. Like, I felt like I needed something to talk to grown-ups and have friends and stuff like that. So so that was like, probably 2 years or something in my career, 2 or 3 years. So then my husband got orders to go to Korea. So when we moved overseas, I'm like, that's it. I'm not even going to try and get a job. Like, I'm just going to do Pampered Chef. I'm just going to do 2 cooking shows. It was Monday, Wednesday. That was my goal. On the military base. Yeah. I was like, I'm just going to do 2 cooking shows a week, and that's it. And I'm just going to stick to that. So when I got there, again, I didn't know anyone, but I feel like if you just make an effort to meet people where you're not like the crazy lady, but we are just like, I had little kids, so I went with mom groups, I did vendor events, I, whatever clubs or anything that kind of sparked my interest, I just went to meet people, and not only did it help me meet people, but it also helped me with my business, right? So, so I was doing about 2 cooking shows a week, and it all worked fine. That was all before virtual parties. And I actually, the story is I didn't want to recruit when I went to Korea. I was like, I'm not recruiting because there's like 600 people in this base. Like, if I start recruiting, then I'm going to run out of business, right? So I was just doing my shows. And one day, my host is like, well, how can I do what you do? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, you can't. Like, it's not going to work. Like, there's not enough room. So I was like, hold on, let me go find out. So I called Donna, and I was like, so you guys, Donna Landy, she's a national too. And I was like, hey, so I have this host, she wants to join, but I'm at a very small base in Korea, and I just can't have her join. Like, so I need some wording to tell her now. And she's like, wait, what? Right? So she's like, okay. And that's how she's like, okay, Claudia, I want you to imagine this. She's like, you're at this base, people come and go every 6 months, every year, every 24 months. Like, there is, and she's like, there's 600 people there. Even if you did 10 shows a month, like, by the time the people come and go, you couldn't even service everyone. And I was like, okay, I could see that. So I started recruiting, and I promoted my first and second director while I was in Korea with the help of her. Like, I wasn't really doing anything. I just like, hey,
They were on the base with you? These people were on the base with you?
they were, well, one was like on a base 2 hours away, and then the other one. So a lot of times I drove 2 hours to go to a different base, knowing that my goal was to find someone there, right? That maybe it's a good party, maybe it's not, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. But sometimes we do things like we drive a couple hours, or we do a vendor event that maybe sucks, right? But you meet that one person, right? So it's not always tit for tat. Like, you just go and do different things and you get different things in return. So I promoted 2 directors there. So promoted to advanced director, and then 5 years ago we moved back to New York, where we are now. And the story's always, I came back January 2015, and my paycheck was $600, and then in October that year, promoted to senior director, and my check was $4,000. So that's kind of the story that I think went viral a little bit with Pampered Chef. And I just decided that I wasn't gonna go back to work for someone else, that I wanted to stay home with my kids. I wanted to be able to do whatever I wanted to do. And I was continuously doing 2 to 3 cooking shows. And that's kind of when the virtual world, very little, started, taking off. I think once I caught the bug, that I really realized that this could work, and that I didn't have to go to work full time, and I could have it all if I worked. I mean, it was work, right? I mean, I had to overcome a lot of fears and doubts, and people like, are you still doing Pampered Chef? Are you still doing that thing, right? Is it still working for you? But I was just determined that it was going to work for me. So when I came to New York, I started doing local meetings, and there was probably 3 or 4 months where nobody came. But they didn't know nobody came, so I would just be like, oh my gosh, this was so much fun. Thank you everyone for coming. Although internally I just wanted to cry.
In your house there was nobody there? But you just pretended that
I just pretended. Because I wanted to create FOMO, like you missed out, right? Yeah. So internally I wanted to quit and throw in the towel, and I'm like, why are these people not showing up? But I'm like, you know what? It's just not the right people. And it's also new, so they have to get used to it. Sometimes we try things once and it doesn't work and we quit, right? So I was like, nope, that's gonna happen. Every first Monday of the month, we're having a meeting, and so that way, if I bring new people in, at least they know that that's the norm. And then is it 2020? So 4 years ago, I got invited to Lead Plus. I don't know if anybody Lead or Lead the Way, right? All those programs are going around. Do they know what that is?
None of them are in this.
Okay, so basically, Pampered Chef, they still do it. So it's like a program that they support you, and they stretch you to do 8 shows a month, to submit 8 shows a month, and to recruit 2. And it was like scary. And actually for me, I wasn't worried about the recruiting, it was more about the 8 shows. So it was a little different than most people, but yeah, so they had a program, they, held you accountable for doing 8 shows and 2, or you would get kicked out. And it was at that home office event that they kind of painted the bigger picture. Like, I was a senior director back then, and they're like, why not? Like, why don't you do it? Why don't you go all the way? Why can't it be you? And back then it wasn't. Now I feel like it's more heard of, that people go from 0 to hero in like no time, right? And executives and national, like, people are just. It's just, they get the bug now and they see that it's possible. And back then it was a little more unheard of. So when I left that meeting, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to be an executive director in 3 months. And I had a lot of people that told me that, oh, you can't do that, right? It's never been done, or you can't do that. You can't do it all, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's how I work. I don't know if some of you guys work, but if someone tells me like I can't do it, that makes me even like.
And you're still in your 20s. Because you're 34, so you're like late.
I'm
20s.
33, yeah. So yeah, it was late 20s, yeah. So I went home, and I just set a goal and worked with my people, and that was all before virtual party, which is pretty impressive, I think. Nowadays, I think it's a lot faster, and then over the last couple of years, I set a goal that I wanted to supplement my husband's income when he retires, because it drops, right? It's not the same anymore. So we've way surpassed that by now, but that's what kept me going. Is like, I don't want him to have to go get a job, because typically when you retire from the military, they shop around for some contracting job, you move wherever the job sends you, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted him to just, like, yes, he did his 20 years, but it wasn't like his favorite career. Like, he did it, because it was his job, but he didn't want to stay in that field, and he's got so much other potential that I just felt like it was my turn to give back. Sorry, it's gonna get like anyway, so that's what kept me going. So even when, you know, like somebody was saying they recruited someone and they don't do anything, or you know, you have all these parties booked and hosts cancel, like it just kept me going, that this is what I wanted. I wanted it to work, and whoever's going to get on this with me is going to get on this, you know, bandwagon with me, and whoever doesn't. Like that's whatever, like next, right? I mean, people come and go in this business for all kinds of different reasons, and they're part of your journey for all kinds of different reasons. So, yeah, so that was my goal, and then so I promoted to executive, and just, you know, I think once you figure out the system and you know that, you know, as long as you do the things you got to do, and then, you know, you guys saw it, those that were at conference, but it was my goal to be the youngest national executive director. Someone beat me now by 6 months, but I owned it for like a year. So
You were the first.
I was the first, yeah. So it's just setting those like crazy goals that you're like, oh, that would be cool. Wouldn't that be cool if that could be me, right? So just kind of breaking. I'm all about breaking the stereotype at Pampered Chef that it's like, oh, well, you had to have been in this business for 20 years to do that, or, you know, you have to be a certain age, or you have to come from a certain background. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, anybody, as long as you set your mind to it. And there's so many different ways now between virtual and cooking and freezer workshops and Instagram, and like, it's all kinds of different ways to do it. It's just whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you feel passionate about. But the virtual world does help because it does, you know, go a lot faster. So, yeah, so that's kind of my story.
So I'm going to get to the questions, but I want you to
Okay.
share a typical day, work day in the life of Claudia Bazaar.
Okay, yeah, so
And you could talk about that assistant thing, because I didn't realize you guys only use this.
yeah, so my day is very structured. I thrive of a schedule, and I preach a schedule to my team. I feel like if you want anything consistent in life, you have to have a schedule. Just like going to the gym or doing your hobby or whatever, if you don't do it consistently, it doesn't work. And I'm big on, sometimes we have too much time, which is bad too, right? So I'm big on knowing when you're working and when you're not working too. Because, you know, with the virtual world and Facebook, this could ding all day. Like, I've been driving for 5 hours, there's probably 50 messages right there, right? I could literally spend all day just answering messages. That's literally all I could do all day. So I have a schedule, so I always recommend, if you just go on Google and you just search weekly schedule, and it's Monday through Sunday, right? And there's either times listed, or you can list your own times, and then you block it out, right? So you like, okay, so how many of you guys work full time? Okay, right? So
Half the room.
obviously that has to go first, right? So you block out the times that you work, but not just the times that you work, the time that it takes you to get to work, the time that it takes you to get ready, right? So all those little blocks of time, and then you put in any other commitment, right? So maybe you have kids in like we have Taekwondo almost every night, right? Or you have swim classes, or you have hobbies or Weight Watchers or whatever, and you plug all that in, right? And you plug in your family time, like when are you eating breakfast with your family, or when are you eating dinner? And then you look at it and say, okay, like some of you guys it might be like a couple hours, some of you guys might be more, some of you guys it might be 15 minutes a day, that's all I got. But you need to know what you have and when you can work, so that way, even if you know it's like, okay, I got 30 minutes in the morning and I got 30 minutes at night, so I gotta make sure that whatever is on my schedule gets done. So that's, I think, the biggest thing, like because honestly, when I promoted to executive, I was pretty overwhelmed. Like, I felt like I was working 24/7. Yes, I was making good money, but I just felt like I didn't have life. like it was like work, right? And I needed to have a schedule, and I needed to follow it. But I also, actually, even as an advanced director, had a helper, even someone that just, I need you to make 10 host packets. You can do that a lot faster than me. I'll pay you $10, or I'll pay you in product. And I was able to do the things like talk to people on the phone, or talk to my hosts, and do like the relationship things. But on a typical day, Monday through Thursday, for me, I am an early riser. So I do get up at 5:30. So 5:30 to 7 is like my peace and quiet work time, where it's like, I try to answer as many messages as I can. I try to answer all my emails. I just try to like catch up on things and just drink my coffee and check in. And then at 7, I wake the kids up, you know, get them all ready, we eat breakfast, and then me and my husband take turns on getting them on the bus. But they get on the bus at like 8:30. Their drive to the gym, so I have 30 minutes because I live in the middle of nowhere. I have to drive 30 minutes pretty much to get anywhere. You guys probably don't have that problem here, but you do. Yeah, so I go to the gym, I shower there, and then by 11, my goal is that by 11 a.m. I'm back in my office. So 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday, every single day. But you guys don't need that. Like, that's me doing a lot of stuff, right? So that's kind of my goal. And then I keep Friday as I like hit or miss. Like, if I want to work and want to get stuff done, but if I need to go grocery shopping or if I want to run some errands, I keep that as like my open day. And then Saturday and Sunday is completely family. Like, I don't work.
You don't even check in on your messages, nothing?
I do. I mean, it depends. Like, if they're like playing games and everybody's kind of just chilling, then yeah, I'll sit on my phone and just, answer things. Yeah, go ahead.
You don't do any weekend shows?
No.
No.
So I am mostly virtual now. So
Okay.
I am like, if someone asks for a cooking show, I'll do it. But I don't pursue them. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Monday and Tuesday nights, I keep open for my team for any like direct abound, training calls, anything like that. But I'm pretty protective of my time because I get up so early too. I know people make fun of me all the time. They're like, Claudia, you're like an old lady. I like want to go lay down at 8:30 and watch TV and go to bed by 9:30. I want to be like done because I like my sleep, right? And I know that. Huh?
Mine too.
That's my bedtime.
Yeah. And yeah, so I stick to that. I'm like, I get up at 5:30 and go to bed at like 8:39, and you get up at 7:30 and go to bed at like 10:30. So it's the same thing, right? But I just get up early. And I will tell you guys, like, my most productive 90 minutes is in the morning. Like, the stuff that I get accomplished in 90 minutes because nobody's bugging me, nobody answers me. I mean, there's a couple people that answer me, but not very many people, right? And they know, my team knows, like, they know they can message me at 10 o'clock. That's great. My phone is off, but they'll get messages from me.
Claudia, can I ask you
Yeah.
a question? That was one of my questions. So you say you work at 5:30 in the morning. You're answering messages. You're texting people at 5:30 in the
Yeah.
morning because if my phone rings at 5:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
I think that my daughter's something happened to her in college,
Yeah.
or my mother's in the hospital, or something.
Yeah.
You text people.
I message
And
them
nobody
on
has-
Facebook.
Oh, on Facebook,
Yeah,
not
I
a
don't
text
text.
message.
Yeah.
Green
Honest-
dot is lit, you can message them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and you know what? Most people, I have my phone off from 10 to 6, so it
Yeah.
doesn't even ding.
Yeah, me
I don't message my hosts necessarily at 5:30. I do message all my team members. They just know. That's when, you know what? If you ask me a question, and if you can message me at 10, I can message you at 5:30, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So
same thing.
that's how it goes. I do send my host coaching for my virtual parties at 6:30. Like, that's like, because if I don't do it at the same time every day, it'll be like 3 o'clock, and I'll be like,
What is your virtual platform? Like, do you use Post My Party? Do you use Facebook Scheduler? What's the other
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Share?
yeah, so let me finish about the schedule, and then the whole virtual party is like a whole nother world, right? So, so that's kind of what my day is, and it's very structured. And yes, there's days, even on the weekend, where I'm like, my husband might take him out, and I'm just like, well, what am I supposed to do, right? So I'm like, let me go, do fun stuff that I don't get time for during the week because I'm on calls and doing things. So I might be like, let me go create some graphics, or let me make a recipe, or so it's not like that I don't work, but I don't have to. Does that make sense? Like, my calls, all my specific things that have to get done are structured, and then if I feel like just sitting on the couch, like not going in my office, but just sitting on the couch with my laptop and just posting some things on my business page, I don't necessarily even consider that work. It's just more like fun, right? So does that help with the schedule?
Yeah, and then what was your other question?
I was curious what your virtual platform is.
Yeah, so how many of you guys do virtual parties?
Starting.
Not at all.
Okay, yeah. So we were talking about that, right? I mean, it is the way to grow right now, and it's probably going to be like that for a while. Like, even the companies, 50-50 right now. We used to be like 20-80,
I'm
and
shocked.
it's
Is
50-50.
it tipping a little bit more towards the virtual
It is.
side too?
Yes.
A little bit more
Yes.
for the first
Yes.
time ever?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. It is, and it's just, there's nothing wrong with cooking shows. It's a great thing, it's a great tool, but at the end of the day, you can only do so many cooking shows, right? With the virtual thing, the difference is you can do 4 parties a week. Whether you do 4 or you do 1, at the end of the day, it's almost the same time. And it's attracting a lot of people that don't want to do cooking shows. They feel they want to hide behind their computer, right? They don't want to talk to people. They might not even be very sociable, so they struggle with that. But if I say, here's 10 recipes, here's some wording, they can do that. They can type it out. They just don't want to go to people's houses, and some people can't, right? We have a lot of people that even can't physically go to people's houses.
Claudia, what kind of host coaching do you do at 6:30 in the morning? Like host coach, because when I hear host coaching, speaking to the host.
Oh yeah, no. So for my virtual parties, I send them something every day. Like, okay, today is Monday, and we're starting your party. So today I want you to go in and post your favorite Pampered product, and make sure if you haven't yet, send some reminders out to your friends.
And you do that through that audio thing.
No, it's copy paste message.
It's a message.
It's just a message.
Where you say you use your voice? Remember you were showing me?
Oh yeah, so
when do you use that?
Yeah, so I have specific things I message them, and then it's not very strategic. It's just kind of random. I use the voice clip feature, and I use it with my team too, because first of all, sometimes I don't want to type it all out, and it's just a lot easier to just explain it in a voice clip, but also the excitement, right? So when you're doing virtual parties, it's different than cooking, because you have to work a little harder to build the relationship and make sure that you are you, and that, if you guys are doing cooking shows, you can do virtual parties, right? So I might just be like, hey, Laura and Megan and Sue, I'm so excited about your parties. Let me know if you have any questions, but the biggest thing for you is to just go ahead and start inviting some friends, So go have a great Monday, and let me know if you have some questions. I'm here to make sure you have the best party. Bye. Right? Just something for them to hear that there's a real person behind.
Voice.
Do this, do this, do this.
And is there a time that it clicks off? Like, what's the time frame that you
I think it's 1 minute.
You have a whole minute.
Yeah.
So you can say a lot in 1 minute.
You can say a lot.
Or then you can just send another one.
Yeah,
If it runs out, you could just continue with the next one. Okay.
Right. And sometimes, honestly, guys, most of my days I sit there in yoga pants and a messy bun. But sometimes when I'm like, okay, I gotta get dressed for something, I'm like, let me do a video for them, right? So I'm like, hey, it's Claudia, right? So you could even do that and just send them a quick little snippet, or you could actually record generic, quick little snippets that just says, hey, it's Monday, I'm so excited to do it. They think it might be live, but they don't know, right? They
And
don't
the
know.
voice recording is through Facebook Messenger.
Yes.
Got it.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, it's not through text.
Yeah. So nothing really happens through text.
I know you can do that too, but it's 6:30 in the morning. It's gonna be Facebook.
Yeah, I don't really text a lot of people anymore.
Okay, so I know we're gonna get into these questions, but I want to know what is your average paycheck a month and your highest so far?
Okay, so my highest.
Remember, we're allowed to ask these questions.
Yes.
We are allowed.
Yeah.
And she's
So
sleeping here tonight, so I could ask her anything.
so I worked really hard in November to break 30,000 in 1 month.
30,000. Did you hear that? Say that loudly into this computer.
$30,000. It was literally like $30,003.
We don't care.
Your actual check or your sales?
No,
No,
my
no,
check.
her check, her deposit into her checking account. So, but okay, that's November.
That was
November,
So
yeah.
on average, I would say a bad month is like 13,000, and a good month is like 20ish.
So on average, every month you pull in between $13,000 and $20,000 a month.
Yeah.
Let that sink in, people.
And just a little backstory, like when the first time I went to Donna Landy's house, and she was passing, that was like 10 years ago, right? So she was passing around a check, and it was $14,000. And I still think it's crazy, the money that we make. Like, I'm like baffled by it. But I remember I went home that day, and she was in a gorgeous house, and I lived in a little apartment. And I went home to my husband. I'm like, I'm gonna be the next Donna Landy. Watch me. So when I finally made that check, I called him like, I think I did it.
And what did you do with your paycheck? Did you like splurge on something? Did you do something like frivolous? That you just dying to do.
Yeah, no, I think we buy frivolous stuff. What is it called?
Frivolous.
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 Okay, let's skip that word.
Fun stuff. What was the most fun thing that you splurged on when you had that much money?
We bought a pool just cause.
Oh, you did?
So
Yeah.
that was pretty
Gigi,
cool.
you got a pool?
Yeah.
Is this the first summer that's going in? You had it already.
Yeah, that was last summer. that
Last
I
time
went
you had
in.
a pool?
It was my husband's retirement gift, we called it. But it's not that money can buy you everything, but it can take a lot of problems off your shoulders. And I just I'm here because I'm picking up my parents tomorrow from the airport, so I'm just able to be like, hey, I need you to come help for a week or a month. Can you fly in, right?
Why
So
don't you
I'm
tell
in-
them where you're going, why they're coming in?
Okay, so there's an executive trip that we earned last year to go to Paris, so that's happening in March. And I have friends and I have sitters, but like for a whole week, I don't really trust anyone besides my parents. So it's really weird that I have to fly my parents in from Europe so I can go to Europe. I get it. I understand. I understand that it's not normal, but you know, I can fly to Italy almost for the
They
same
want an
price
excuse to come, so
that I can fly to Chicago, right? It's really not that big of a deal, but yeah, so I love that I just have the flexibility to, first of all, control my income. That, you know, some things are uncontrollable, but if I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do this, I can pick up more virtual parties, right? And that I have the freedom to make as much as I want, right? So yeah.
Okay, Claudia. So,
Oh, I'm scared.
be
Be afraid of that.
You were born and raised in Germany,
Yes,
but you're Italian
correct.
and you live in the United States. How many languages do you speak?
3.
Three passports too.
No.
You said you had 3
2.
passports.
No, I've never had a German passport.
Oh,
So
but you did.
in the States, you're born in the States, it makes you American, right?
Right.
So I was born in Germany, doesn't make me German, doesn't work like that.
Oh.
Like both my parents are Italian, they both have Italian citizenship, so I was always Italian. I've never had a German passport in my life. So yeah, so at home it was Italian, and then when I went to school I learned German, so it was always that, and then I learned English, so.
Why were your parents in Germany? I don't mean to be nosy, but
No,
I'm
yes,
just
for work.
Curious.
For work purposes,
okay.
yeah.
That's like going from here to Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
basically, except it's a different language.
Well, it's a different language in Rhode Island too.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
you
I-
guys pop in with questions, like
Yeah.
if that's there. But
yeah,
if you
exactly.
guys
That's what I was
in
gonna
that
say.
moment-
Like, I'm gonna fill in with
Yeah.
these questions, but if you have a question,
Do you use? Did I
Oh,
miss
post my
it?
party.
Oh.
Right, that's what we're talking about. I know. That's
Yeah,
why,
I
like,
was
you
like,
gotta bring me back. I'll forget. So,
Virtual parties.
virtual parties. Yeah. So I do 5-day parties. They start Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Now I will tell you, there's no right or wrong way. Okay. When we started doing virtual parties, there were 14 days. I don't know how the heck we did that, but it worked.
they're also 1 hour ones too.
1 hour. Remember, we
I
said,
did the 1
don't
hour
touch me for
ones.
30 minutes. I gotta post. I gotta
Yes.
manually post. Nobody talk to me. Go eat cereal. I don't care. I got 30 minutes. I gotta
That's
post.
right.
Right? That's how it used to be. So I used to do 7 for the longest time, but I found that it doesn't really matter. Like whatever you believe in, whatever you're passionate about, you can make it work. I didn't like the overlap. I didn't like having. I do 8 parties per week. I didn't like having parties closing, parties running, late parties closing. It was like a lot of people to handle. So I'm like, all right, let me do this. Let me do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, the host shops. We close the party. And then Thursday, have like an open day to make sure everything's wrapped up and everything's ready to go. So running for 5 days. I have a theme I kind of created around my party. So I do breakfast, lunch, appetizer, dinner, and dessert. So I theme everything around it. The products, the recipes, like
How often do you change up your outlines?
I'm really bad, like every 6 months.
So you just like sub out the new specials
Yeah,
and whatever.
yeah, I just sub new specials and post some new games, but I keep it pretty because I do a lot of my own pictures, so I don't want to change that every. Yeah, no.
So you do recipes, games, and products.
Yeah, so I do recipes. I try to give a kitchen tip, and I just Google that. Kitchen tip for breakfast. Oh, make ahead smoothies. Oh, that sounds cool. Let me make a graphic about that, right? Duh, right? Oh, lunch. Oh, make a hat salads. Oh, let me give them some recipe for that. Like, you don't have to know everything. You just gotta know where to find it, right? So yeah, I do a recipe. I do kitchen tips. I do product. And I always do something about booking, always do something about recruiting.
How many people do you encourage the host to have in your party? And it's a group. She does private groups.
Yeah,
Doesn't
so it's
do
a group.
events.
I did recently switch to block parties, so
Do you like those?
I do like them. Yeah.
You want to give them a little?
Yeah.
What's a
So
block party?
individual parties, you have one host in one group. Block parties, you have all 4, 6, 8, however many hosts in another group. So there's no right or wrong way. My team does both. So. I think it's fun. And I'm a little selfish. It's a lot less work for you, right? And I like to go live and I like to be involved in my parties. So
So
I
people ever screw up and use the wrong link to order?
No, because it says pamperedchef.biz/Laura Polito.
All right, but sometimes people just click.
No.
You know what I mean? So you
I've
haven't had an issue
never
with
had
that?
anyone
Okay.
order on the. So I post all the links in the announcement. I say here, find your house, and my links are all host first and last name. I mean, you have to be really challenged if you pick the
You really
wrong
gotta
one.
not pay attention.
Right.
Click the wrong way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I like it because it's hit or miss if you have a lot of hosts. Even if you have, so let's say you have 6 hosts, or let's say even just 4, and 2 of them are good, and 2 of them are kind of like, the 2 good ones help the other ones too, right?
Right.
Because as long as they get people in the party and there's something happening, then they're good. If you have one group with one host that invites 40 people and they're all dead, then you just waste it. Like you go in there and you check and it's like dead, and it's like, oh, nobody's ordering. That's like a whole waste. So, but again, there's no right or wrong way. Like you gotta try it, and you gotta try at least for like a month or 2 and make it work for
Is
you.
there a thing on Facebook though that limits the number of people in the groups? Like if you're doing it as a group in a group party?
No, there's no limit on how many people you can
Do you
have.
always go live, or is it just, it depends on the kind of party?
It depends. I do go live more than I have a block party now. So what I used to do is I would cut up an onion in 4, and I would go chop it in one party, chop it in the next party, chop it in the next party, and that's what I would do. And I would even throw it away if I didn't use it. I'm like, I just need to show them something. Sometimes I don't even cook anything. I just talk. And I'm just like, oh, let me know if you have any questions. You know, I just try
So
to
now
show
it's
my
one video
face.
done, and it's hitting for a host with one video.
Exactly. So I
And
don't
you keep
go.
it generic, the video. You don't like say names.
No,
you
I don't say names.
Right.
Yeah, I mean I can if it's live, if I can, but it's what's different I think about I don't know, but my lives, they're not perfect. I don't go out of my way to say I'm gonna go live and do something special. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to the gym. I'm out of yoga. I'm out of almond milk, and I'm gonna make it in my gym clothes, and that's what I'm gonna talk about, right? So I'm like, oh, hey guys, guess what I'm doing? I just talk about what I'm already doing. I don't go out of my way to find things to go live, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Taco Night Tuesday at our house. Look at Gigi checking out. Look at the mix and chop. Who's got it? You know, let me know if you guys have any questions. What's for dinner at your house? So whenever you go live, I just try to ask a question right in the live, like what's for dinner at your house, or you know, have you made your own alternative milk, or what's like I use the egg cooker a lot, the breakfast little egg cooker, right? So I make breakfast in it, very short, like no like 1 hour live, like 5 minutes or less. So I do a lot of that. Even like we eat a lot of pineapple, so every other party pretty much has a pineapple picture demo, right? Because I'm already doing it. Why can't I just show it to someone, right? So that's what I want you guys to think. Like, don't feel like I used to do that. I would be like, every Sunday at 9 o'clock, I'm gonna go live.
I remember
that? And then I got really tired.
Cucina.
Yeah, and I
want
want
to
to
dinner.
Yeah, I want to go back to that, but you
That's
know,
right. That's
yeah.
what we're
But
not
then
doing
I switched
anymore.
it, and I switched to Thursdays at 3. So I'm like, you know what? I'm making dinner at around 3 o'clock anyway, so then I can go live with dinner, right? So I don't want you to think like you have to do something special to go live.
You only do that when you're on like YouTube, because then you have followers that are expecting you to go live at a certain hour.
Yeah.
And for
But when-
Facebook, no, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, and don't worry. I mean, most of the time I have no makeup on. My hair's crazy. My kids running around. Like that's okay. People want to see. They don't want to see picture
normal.
perfect.
They want to see normal life.
Yeah, because they have a normal life, right? So they got kids screaming and whatever.
Or one
so.
other thing when you go live, do you zero in on yourself, or do you, let's say, have your phone like high up so you can see your whole kitchen and you can be running
Oh,
around?
they're not seeing my whole kitchen.
Okay.
No,
Are you like us? You
Yeah.
clean that one corner and everything's perfect.
And then you check
And
the four
everybody-
corners.
How many people
Like I
say
taught
it? How
you.
many people
Yes.
do the same thing? I'm not the only
No.
one, right?
Oh,
I don't
of
go
course.
live
People.
because of my kitchen. Forget
No, that's
it.
because
Right.
my son did it to
Yeah.
me once, and I didn't even know he was doing it. The camera was on the top part of the cabinet. Could see the whole kitchen. My kitchen is a disaster since he moved back.
Yeah, and you know what? If you can't, like you said, my kitchen, I can't go live in my kitchen. I go live in my office or wherever, and sometimes I go live in the car, and I'm like, hey guys, you know, I'm heading out to the gym. Happy Monday, you know, join the party. Make sure you change your notifications to all, and thanks to our fabulous host. And what are you guys having for dinner tonight? Done. Like you don't have to cook something, right? You
They
could
just
go
wanna
hide in
connect
a
the
corner.
human to the
Yeah,
party.
you could go sit at your kitchen table and just make sure that is clean and say, okay, these are my top 3 breakfast items, right? I use my egg cooker, I use my little whisk, and I use whatever, my blender for smoothie. Like, you don't have to necessarily cook. It's just, you know, there is more and more people doing virtual parties, so you want to set yourself apart from all the other parties that are just product and information and nothing engaging, right?
With the block parties, do you find that most of your hosts are receptive to it, or have you gotten any pushback about it?
So the biggest pushback is when you switch, right? Because you have hosts coming from individual parties and now you're doing block parties. So I didn't tell them. I didn't make a big deal about it. I just said, here you go. And then some of them were like, wait, what do you mean? I'm in the other group. I'm like, oh yeah, Facebook made some changes. You know, and this is actually way cooler because now you have more people in your party. It's going to be so much more fun. And my hosts are doing way better. Okay.
If they don't know, they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know, right? So.
But they're gonna see the posts of other people.
No, they will know eventually. But
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I
yeah.
say, hey, I'm switching to this new format and I want you to try it, would you like to do that? Then I'm asking for permission. Versus
No, well, you're the boss.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like you do your
So you-
cooking shows,
yeah.
you tell them what you're cooking and you don't ask them, hey, what would you like to make, right? So it's the same thing. So, and I mean, every now and then somebody, like I had a host that rebooked and she said, well, why can't we do it like last time? And I'm like, listen, this is so much better. You had a good party last time, just do again, everything I tell you to do, and you will have a good party this time. And then she kind of was like, oh, but it's not as good. And I'm like, did you send your reminders? Oh, I haven't gotten time. I'm like, okay, can you send this message to all your friends? Okay. And boom, orders started rolling in, right? So it's all about your confidence that you know it works, and that's how you do it, and that's it.
So I'm sure you have really great parties, but do you still have a lot of flops and zero
All
sales?
the time.
Like at what point do you give up? Like after those 5 days, you say, all right, do we try to extend it for another week?
Yeah,
Or do you
so-
just cut her off and say another time you can try?
Yeah, so I cut them off. So I teach
Do
my
you, so
team.
you cut them off after those 5 days?
Well, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Like you don't give her the option for her to say like, oh no, I'll invite people now and restart them or anything like that?
No. I mean, typically, if they don't do it, they don't do it. I mean, what?
You've never seen anything turn around like that. So what do you like? What would you say to a host?
So first of all, let me back up a little bit. So I teach my team 4 virtual parties a week. Right? If you want to grow, if you're a new consultant, you do 4 virtual parties a week in your first 30 days. You just test it. You can't test it if you do 1 party. Right? It needs to be 4 per week, no matter what. And then you can decide how many times you want to do that, right? If you're like, hey, I just want to do, I have enough time to do 1 round of parties, and you just do it the first week of the month. You're green by 15th, and then the rest of the month you do whatever you want, right? But the way I explain it is, okay, so when you have 4 hosts, one's gonna ghost you, it's gonna get sick, somebody's gonna die, whatever, right? It happens, right? That's true, right?
Yeah.
One is maybe barely gonna qualify, maybe get 200, and then the other 2 are pretty good, right? So if you just do 1 party that week, and it's the dud party or the ghost party, you just worked for like nothing, right? So you want to make sure you do at least 4, because honestly, you're gonna coach them together in a group message. You're gonna have them all in the same group if you do block parties, and you'll be happy to close more parties if they have sales. So what's, and if they don't, then you're like, oh well, wasn't that much extra.
Do you challenge the hosts if they're in a group to like whoever gets the highest sales, you're gonna throw them an extra bone or anything like that?
I don't, but you can. I mean,
I've heard people say
yeah,
that
you
they
can
put them
do
in
that.
competition with each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
I don't know
mean,
that.
Yeah, you could do
That's
that. I mean,
fine.
there's so many different ways. There's so many different ways of host coaching. The biggest thing is just making sure they get people in the party, right? Making sure they engage, they post something. I don't care what you post, just show up once a day and post something, right? And yeah.
So how do you get bookings in your virtual parties? Because I'm going to start interjecting some of these questions in
Yeah.
between where they fit
So I have some booking posts. Like, I always say my goal or our goal is to get each host 3 bookings. I do a post that says, if you could have anything for 60% off, what would you like? And then I might message them and I might say, hey Laura, oh my God, I would love to help you get your blender for 140 or whatever it is instead of 350. And our host, Sarah is going to get credit too. My next available date is, what do you think? Can we make it happen, right? So when you're reaching out, you want to personalize it, and you want to always put your next available date, not when would you like to have a party, and then, how does that sound? Can we make it happen? What do you say? Not like, let me know, right? So, so just talking to people, and then I do, I think it started with Steve Japolsky or Stephen Joseph that he challenges his host to get them, put them to work to get me 3 bookings.
That was gonna be my next question. Do you do that?
Yeah. So I do that, and it's hit or miss. If I stay on top of them, they'll do it. If I just throw it out there and forget about it.
So how do you ask them?
Yeah, so
What's
it's
the
just a
magic
little
phrase?
Yeah, it's just a little message that just says, "Hey guys, I have a challenge for you. I want to challenge you to get 3 bookings from your parties, so you can get 3 half-price items at each of your friends' house." And I say, plus I'll give you free shipping on your hostess order when you have 3. I have some words, and I can use, if I send them to you, can you send them to 10 of your friends?
So sometimes they bite and sometimes they don't. Just
Sometimes
like with
if
everything
I'm more, it's just like anything. If I'm more intentional, and I'm like, oh
else.
my
If you
god.
need the bookings, then you.
If I need the bookings, I'll push it more, and I might be like, "Hey Laura, did you see my message? I would really love to help you get the bookings." Or, "Hey Laura, you got 1 booking. Can you get 2 more?" Right? So it's all about being on top of it. Sometimes I'm more on top of it. Sometimes I'm not.
So,
It just depends.
Regarding the
Sometimes I
same
offer
question,
something.
here's another question. For virtual parties, when you book a party over a month plus out, because you're telling your next host, I have this date available.
Right.
Do you want it? What host coaching tips do you have to keep them excited about the party and to actually have the party happen,
Yeah.
which is a whole month out?
Yeah. So if it's a month out, I might send them a message and just say, "Hey, your month is coming up. I'm so excited." I mean, just talk to them like you would talk to them in normal life. But
Just
I
start
do
a
have a
conversation.
system like, okay, 2 weeks out, I say, okay, we're getting ready. In a week, I'm gonna make your group. Start asking some friends if they're interested in some paper chaff. So I definitely touch base with them.
So you start touching base with them
2 weeks out.
2 weeks out. So
Yeah.
if it's a month and a half for that 1 month, it's
It's
just
typically 2
stagnant.
weeks.
So you're just assuming that you made a relationship with them, you set a date with them. I will be contacting you
Yeah.
2 weeks before the start
Yeah,
of your
I
party.
think it's different than, and honestly, like I missed some people. Like I booked out to January, and like 2 people fell through the crack, and because I did message them 2 weeks before and messaged them like a couple days before, they were like, "Oh, I forgot about it," right? So I feel
Because
like
you
in a
forgot about
virtual
it.
world,
So like it's
they
on
slipped.
you.
My paper slipped, yeah. But I think in a virtual world, 2 weeks notice. I mean, it's not like they have to clean their house.
Right.
So they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, it's 2 weeks from now. Yeah, I could probably figure that out."
So you just do your host posting from 2 weeks out and you send them messages? How
Oh,
often?
no, it's not every day. It's
Yeah.
like I send them a message at the 2 week mark, then I'll send them a message at the 1 week mark, and then I'll send them a message when the group is ready for them to
Ready to
write.
start, and then you ask them every
Every
day
day.
of the
Then
show.
it's every
you,
day, yeah.
you shoot them a message as to what
What
their
they're supposed to know.
responsibilities
Yeah,
are for
correct.
that day.
So how about what my question is, this may be yours. What do you say to people when you leave a message or a text message and they don't respond back?
Yeah, that's so
That was
rude.
definitely somebody's question here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get ghosted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah.
I mean, I don't text. I really rarely text. I think I text 1% or something, right? So
also through Facebook, okay.
Facebook,
so same
right?
thing. So,
So
you
you
leave a
s-
Facebook message
you
and they
send
don't
them
get
a
back to you.
message. They don't respond. So within 48 hours, you go back and you say, "Hey, I just wanted to see if you saw this. Is this something you're interested in or not?"
What about phone calls when they don't call you back?
I don't know. I don't call
She doesn't call people. She doesn't like to talk to people.
Yeah, I'm not a phone person. I mean, I'll talk to my team and stuff, but I don't unless I know the number. I don't answer it.
I sit down with my phone and I start calling.
Yeah, and it might be that
That's
people.
what gives me anxiety, is to have to get on the call.
Oh,
Laura,
gosh,
all
yeah.
week, I swear to God, there was a little Laura on my shoulder saying, "Told you it's easier to get book shows at parties. Told you."
It is.
Because calling, just wanting, just
Yeah,
sitting
okay.
down to call or to
Book
text,
is a
it's
part
like,
of
it
you.
makes me anxious.
Yeah.
They can
I
do
do
the
all my
text
stuff
thing,
on
but-
Facebook Messenger. I like texted very minimal amount of
Yeah.
people.
Okay, so same idea. What do you say to someone who says they want to have a party but they won't commit to that date? If they won't commit, how often do you follow up and for how long? That was
Yeah,
another question.
I mean, I think it's the same thing, right? I would just be like, "Hey, Laura, we had your party scheduled for March 7th. Is this something you're interested in, or still interested in, or did something come up?" Then I might message them again and be like, "Hey, is everything?" That's a good one too. I was like, "Is everything
you
okay?
die?
Is everything okay? I'm worried about you. I
Yes.
just want to make sure you're okay." And then they're like, "Okay."
They feel like schmucks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I think it's the biggest thing is just follow up. Like if you commit to sending a message, if you commit to doing a phone call, if you commit to sending a text, you have to follow up with them within 48 hours.
And if they didn't flat out tell you no, you still have permission to reach
Oh.
out again until they tell you flat out
and
stop.
I will
bothering
ask
me.
them if they're like, most people it's like, "Oh, it's not a good time." I say, "Okay, is it just not a good time? Or you're not really into hosting parties, or is this not really your thing?" like tell me. Like I would rather you say, you know what, I will never host a party. Thank you. And I say that, and sometimes people don't even respond to that. I'm like, no, you still want to like. So I say, thanks so much. I appreciate your honesty. You know, if you ever need anything from Pampered Chef, if you need recipes, here's my business page. Go like it, and that's it.
Really quick, marketing. What kind of marketing do you do? I said, like, you know, you have the decal on the car. Do people actually reach you through any kind of marketing, or do you put flyers up in the supermarket, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, I put my business cards out there, but I think the biggest marketing you can do these days is on social media.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So how are you portraying yourself on social media? And I am very big on social media, and it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to take you a lot of time. It's just doing what you do. So if you guys, you can't friend request me because I'm at my max, but you can follow me, and you can also go to Instagram. Like Instagram is a good one to just kind of see when I talk about social media, and you can just follow Claudia's Cucina. But that is your brand. That's what people, if people search for something, you want to be searchable, right? Yeah, some people stop me for my decal, but not many, right? Probably for a long time. But you know, you want to be searchable. You want to be. You don't want ever anybody to be like, is Laura still doing Pampered Chef? Like you can look at her thing and you know damn well she's doing Pampered Chef, right? So even
My
just
store is open.
yeah, your store is always open, but she's not salesy. She's not like, check out this recipe, book a party. Check out this recipe, buy the stone.
Never.
Check out this recipe, I have a sale, right? She just throws it out there. She, you know, you just share what you're doing. Like, you know, here's what I just made, and oh my God, this looks so good, and oh my gosh, can't believe that the quick cooker did this in 20 minutes without asking for anything in return. Because if you just share, people will trust you, right? They trust that you have a valid reason that you love what you do. And when you reach out to people in Messenger or whatever, they're more likely to be like, oh yeah, I remember Lauren freaking food pictures all the time. Yeah, I know who that is. But a lot of times people complain that people don't they don't respond. It's because they don't even know what you do half the time, because you might not post about it enough. And it's not like that you want to post about it all the time, but you just want people to know who you are, right? So whatever your hobbies are, whatever you do at home with your family, like if you want to be successful with virtual parties and social media, you have to be okay with showing people who you are on social media, right? Just like everybody knows Gigi, right? Like they just know, right? They just know that we cook a lot, and that's okay. They need to know that you're real and that you have something to offer, and that Pampered Chef helps you in some form or fashion every single day. I mean, that's the easy part. Like we don't have to like put makeup on just to sell a mascara or whatever, or you know, go out of my way to sell something. Like I use it every single day, even if I just throw chicken nuggets now in my air fryer. Like right? Like you don't have to go out of your way for using
Frozen
it.
French fries.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be a gourmet meal. It's just real life.
Claudia, do you have a schedule for what you post? Like in the beginning of the month, you do a live and say, "Oh, these are the new."
Oh, for my social media?
Yeah, for social media.
No. I'm sure it could be better, but it's just literally what I do every day.
What you do every day.
Yeah.
So, okay, so how do you get friends
Wait,
to?
she had
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead,
just
Monica.
have a question about, so you do your party from Friday to Tuesday, but you take off the weekends. So I know your scheduled posts are going, but
Yeah.
so do you not respond to any of the questions?
No, I mean, so like I said, I'm so scheduled to just, my body gets up at 5:30,
Right.
6 maybe at the latest. So like nobody's up. So I will still go. I know I'm going to my office. I will bring my phone downstairs or my laptop. I sit on my couch. I send my host coaching. And that takes like a minute, right? And once you do one host coaching with one group, you can just forward it, right? You don't even have to type it out. And then I just check in my party real quick. I mean, if it's one group, it takes you 15 minutes to just go through, respond. Awesome, great, yeah. Okay, done. That's it.
So somebody in the group has put, how do you get your friends to buy your host without asking them repeatedly or bothering them or making them want to unfriend you?
Yeah. Well, if you're thinking you're bothering them and you're thinking
Then
that
you
they're
are,
going
right?
to unfriend, yeah, then you probably are bugging them, right? So you can ask them initially, right? You know, whatever excites you, whether it's cooking show, virtual party, whatever excites you that month, you know, ask about it, follow up, and then that's it. Right? They don't respond, they will get another message from me maybe in 3 months or 6 months. The next time I need bookings and I need to reach out, they'll get another message until they tell me no. But that's it. I mean, you can't You can't keep saying, Laura, you're gonna have a party? Laura, come on, let's have a party. Laura, when are you having a party? Laura, can we have a party? Laura, why are you not messaging me? Like, nobody wants that. You wouldn't do that either, right?
So what's your number one tip to getting bookings at your shows? And in this case, it's virtual shows.
Yeah, so just like I said, so some kind of, and actually marketing imagery is really good with like, they have little like spoons, like when we get 3 parties booked, showing the rewards. I have my hosts also, when they have good parties, I say, hey, can you take a screenshot of your rewards and share that? And then putting the host to work to get your bookings, and also looking in your parties, like who are the person that says, oh my gosh, I wish I could get Splenda, or I got this, but I have so much more in my wish list. And just asking them. You just got to ask everyone, just like at a cooking show, you ask everyone to check out, right? You ask everyone in a virtual party too.
So you PM them when you're asking?
Yeah. So I strike up conversation with specific people, but I will message every single person.
Do you message them after they order and thank you for your order and then ask them then, or before that?
No, so I don't ask for bookings until the end. So I kind of compare it to a cooking show, right? If you have a cooking show and you walk in and say, hey, I'm Laura, you want to book a party? They're going to be like, no, I'm not booking a party, right? But by the end, they might be like, oh yeah, I need to book a party. So I focus all my, as far as outreaches and talking about bookings, all until the end of the party.
Is that when you focus on the recruiting as well? Or do you drop the seed in the beginning?
The recruiting, it depends. If I have like a post that says, ask me any question about my business, or guess my paycheck, or guess what my business, supports me or doing or whatever. But if I see someone that's asking a lot of questions, and then I will message them and I just say, hey, you have a lot of questions.
The red flags. Those
the
red
obvious
flags.
ones.
The obvious ones. Okay.
Yeah.
So you do have a recruit. What happens if he or she stops responding to you? Like he or she does not pick up text, emails, phone calls?
Yeah, that happens.
Does it still happen to you still to this day? These people need to hear that because we think it doesn't happen, and now we're doing something wrong.
Listen, there's people like you guys drove to come see me, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, like although I'm like normal, right? But like I have people that live 2 miles from my house that will not come to a local meeting. They will not want to get trained, right?
From a national.
Or it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
So it just doesn't matter. Like I've had, I have people that are unhappy consultants. I have people that are unhappy hosts. Like we all have them. You can't please everyone, right? And as long as you know that you've tried to reach out, you've tried to help them, you followed up, you've invited them to things. Eventually, you just gotta
be on them.
Release.
In the end, it's gotta be on them. So, how much time do you allocate to training and mentoring your team members? Like, how much hand holding or breastfeeding do you do? Are you a lactation specialist?
I am not a lactation specialist.
Let's throw that in there because that's me. Go ahead.
I don't know if I do a lot of hand holding. I do, regardless of your level, your personal business always has to come first. Like if I don't go out and do shows, I can't sell, and I can't bring in enough new people to then develop them into directors and leaders. Like it's just how it goes, right? It starts with bookings and it's just like a big old funnel. So my personal business will always come first. So I always have time set aside just for my parties, my booking outreaches, my whatever. And then I have time for my personal team because that is where all those people are going to come from, right? That's your funnel. And then I have time for my, my directors and my first gen. And then the goal is to teach them how to teach their team, right? And then I do have meetings and all that stuff. But I would probably say, but remember too, I have an assistant, right? So as you grow, like I said, I don't need to set up a Facebook group. I don't need to set up a consultant corner show. Like somebody else can do that while I can talk.
So will your assistant help the new consultant?
No.
Like with those little tests at all?
No. I do that.
So like what if that consultant, like you said, some consultants are challenged technically. Like that they have the potential.
Yeah.
They just need the skills in front of a device to learn it.
So
people need to be shown like that and then they get it.
Yeah.
So how much do you do?
So if I have a new consultant, I do, do a call with them, and we were just talking about that. So she's like, what do you mean a call? Like you call? And I'm like, no, I just click video on Facebook Messenger because that's where they're coming from. They're coming from virtual parties. That's why I've been communicating with them. But I do like a quick, even if it's 10 minutes, where I just get to see their picture and talk to them and just get to figure out who is this person, right? Is she young and energetic and she gets it? Does she sound like she's super busy? does she sound like, you know, she doesn't even know how to copy paste? So maybe we're not going to do 4 virtual parties. We might do just the 1, right? And then the other thing, if you're finding that you're constantly saying the same thing, like, how do I do this? Then I just record little videos, right? Oh, how do I set up my first show? Oh, let me go here, do a video. Or how do I set up post my party once you send me the template? Oh, here you go, here's a video. So create little.
So you have a bunch of those little videos just to shoot out to people?
Yeah, all the time.
And you save them all on your phone, on your computer. Where are they?
They are on my phone. They're on my computer. They're on my YouTube. They're everywhere. And I do the same thing for my assistant. So if I'm like, okay, I need you to order these things once a month, or to pull this report once a month, instead of explaining it to her every single month, I'm like, let me record the Zoom, put it in a document. So every first of the month, you know that this needs to be done. And if you don't remember how to do it, you just watch the video.
You do a Zoom. I heard you say Zoom.
Yeah, so
video.
if you have Zoom, you can just share your own screen and you can record it, and then it creates a quick little video.
And then she watches your Zoom link of you
Correct.
setting up whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
If you're on Zoom, like, how do you watch Zoom and do stuff at the same time? Because I feel like I have to watch it, take notes, and then try and incorporate it.
Yeah.
And most of what I'm doing is just on my phone. So if I was on can I do it, like, watch it on my
Watch on your phone and do it on the computer as you're watching it, or vice versa.
Yeah, or vice versa, or depending on my laptop, I can split the screen, so I can move one window over here and one window over there, and do it simultaneously.
Okay, split screen might be what I would need to do then.
Yeah.
Because I can't, like, I kind of have to look at both
Right.
things. So the split screen is probably what I need. If I'm looking at something on Zoom and then trying to do it over here,
Do you have a PC?
Not really. I could probably borrow my husband's, but I don't like to borrow his stuff because then something will break and then it'll be my fault. All of a sudden, like that
That is
F2 will
with
get
people that
stuck.
think that this is not a real business. I mean, you're at a different level, so
Yeah.
No, you mean like friends and family that
friends,
think that?
family, even
but
people
you
that
deal
are
with new
seeing
people
your
that are
success.
feeling that
But they have to
Right.
give the support at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, this is just a pyramid thing, so it'll die down at some point. You know, like
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it's that people don't believe in it or that people just don't think that you can be successful. And I think you just gotta I still have people that say that.
You
Like,
still do Pampered Chef?
you still doing that?
Oh
Pampered
no,
Chef?
I'm famous.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you always gonna have those
Right.
because most people think it's a negative thing, or most people, or
How do you answer people like that? Because there's people that say, "Oh, you still doing Pampered Chef?" I'm like,
yeah. So
Why
I always
wouldn't I
say,
be?
"Why
so-
would I?
You're
I'm
never
not
leaving,
even
of
do-
course.
Hello.
yeah, of course, right? Yeah, I love it.
I still eat dinner.
Yeah, and you can, I think it helps if you show them what it does for you too, right? Yeah, of course I still do it. It pays for my groceries, right? Or of course I still do it. It pays for my Disney trip this summer. Or then they're kind of like, oh, right.
So what piece of advice can you give to a consultant who's struggling with bookings? He or she works full time and has a family to take care of, but she wants to make this business work.
Yeah.
Because you've been there.
Yeah, been there, done that. So I think first of all, it's deciding what is it that you want, right? So you work full time. You only have so much time. When do you have time? And the time that you have, what do you think you're capable of doing? And
Goes
what?
back to that calendar that you
Right. So if you're like,
chunks of
okay,
time.
I can do one cooking show a week, or I can do 4 virtual parties a week, like that is the goal. And what is that income going to do for me and my family? And why is it important? Because you're pulled in 100,000 different directions. So you need to know why it's important to you. Because if you're just doing it, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's probably not going to happen because it doesn't just magically all come together, right? So I think it's important to bring it back to why is it that you're doing it? Why is it important to you? And then struggling with bookings, it's if you have that goal, you will overcome those no's, right? But also being strategic. Okay, did I message everyone on my friends list? Did I follow up with everyone? And, am I using the right words? Maybe you might be like, hey, oh my gosh, I need one more booking. Will you have a party for me? It's not very exciting, right? People are going to be like, well, will you have a party for you? Like, what's in it for me, right? But if you're like, oh my God, I just found out that it's, I'm doing this virtual party thing. We share recipes. I go live. It's like a cooking show, but it's all online. You can invite your friends. It's gonna be super fun and exciting, and you get 60% of any one item. Will you be my guinea pig, or will you try this with me, or whatever, right? Or I need a guinea pig. That always works too if you're testing things. I'm piloting
You know what, they
something
told
new.
us at conference not to say that. I remember that, being one that workshop where we were sitting
I
on
use
the
that all the
floor.
But then Marna said it does work, and it did because it happened for me this week.
2 more questions to round out, and then we're gonna go have dessert. So, and it's a good way to round out. So, what is everything that we shared? Isn't this amazing, guys, that she's here? Right? Yeah, it really is. So, what is the one daily task, if you could pick one, that is the most integral to the success of your business? The one task.
Contacts and outreaches. You have to talk to people. You have to contact people, and you have to talk to them, and they have to respond, and you have to have a conversation. I mean, if you can't do anything else, you don't have two-way conversations with people. So.
And then, lastly, we all know sometimes it's better to start with one small goal, a power promise, if you will. And once you get the hang of that, add another and start building yourself up. So if you could pick one power promise to be the foundation to start to grow and to work your business, what would it be?
What I just said, 4 virtual parties a week. I mean, you can have good success with cooking shows, don't get me wrong, but if you want to grow and you want people everywhere, and just think about that, right? Imagine you do 4 virtual parties a week for 90 days, and you bring on 2 to 6 consultants that are in different states, and now they go and do 4 virtual parties a week. Just run some numbers of the exponential growth that you could have, that you can have it with cooking shows, but you can't do it as fast. Nobody's going to go out and do 4 cooking shows a week. Right?
Exchanges everything.
Right. And you're reaching people, right? If you have someone local and you say, you can do cooking shows, but what about all those 800 friends on Facebook that don't live here? Like, what are you doing with those? They just sit there, right? Or even if you do cooking shows, create an event, right? Go live in the event from the cooking show, but add all those other people that can come and make it a virtual one too, right? So I think when you cut out the virtual world, you're leaving so many people out there on the table.
What do your posts look like? So when you're how many posts are you doing a day when you're doing your parties?
Yeah, can you explain that, what you said, breakfast, lunch,
so
and then appetizers?
I'm very minimalistic. So I do 6 to 8 posts a day. So typically it's 2 to 3 posts in the morning, 2 to 3 posts at lunch, and 2 to 3 posts in the evening. And there's always, like I said, there's always a recipe, but it's not just anything you post, you want to have them answer somehow, right? So, so
always with a question.
Always with a question, right? So check out this breakfast sausage ring. What do you think? Yay or nay? Would you eat this? Right? Or check out this breakfast sausage ring. We're going to use sausage, but what would you fill it with? Everything has to be a question, or they're just going to read it. They have no reason to respond, right? So always a recipe, always something engaging. It's a guessing game. It's a, salty or sweet, like the dumbest things you can find, right? People love to give their opinion, right? Or do you like Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks? Like those types of things, right? I do suggest, and that could be a fun meeting thing too, is making your own guessing games, right? So every meeting, you have 2 different products with 2 different things in it. Like, where'd she go? She left. But Gigi just counted Cheerios.
Oh, you like fill up something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gigi just counted like 1,000 Cheerios or something that were
We should
somewhere.
do a thing where we make our own images. Like everybody bring a computer or something, and we can sit here and make images that we can all.
Yeah, we should do that too. Yeah. So making your own guessing games, I don't go out of my way. I just find, I open my kitchen and I'm like, so one was Cheerios, the other one was, I had grape tomatoes. So I did that, right?
Fill up something with grape tomatoes.
Fill up something, whatever product. I have almonds in my blender. I have noodles in my donut pan.
Do you give tickets? That was a
tickets, points,
prizes.
Yeah,
who wins? The person that you feel like giving the prize to,
Yeah.
right? Come on, nobody does it the other way,
Nobody sits
guys.
there and counts.
Nobody
No.
sits there and counts.
So yeah, and the cool thing about block parties is once you have over 50 members, you can click on group insights, so you can see who are the most participating people.
right,
So I double check the most participating people with making sure they ordered, because I don't want to mail anything, and then I pick one of those people.
So you're not in direct ship?
She is not. No.
No. But you could
I
give
love
out
dress shipping.
coupons. You
I'll
could
do
say
that.
$5 of your next order.
Yeah.
Like whatever, right? But yeah, so recipes, games, and always have your face in it. Like, or at least, like, I know some people don't like their own picture or whatever. Then use your kids, use your dog. I have someone that does everything. Her dog is in every picture, and people love that. They like go crazy with that dog. But
That's you. That's the brand.
you can go find pictures that other people did, but how hard is it to go dump some noodles somewhere and just say, how many things are in this salad bowl? Like, right? Like little things like that. And then I actually post the answer with, like, I have a picture of Gigi sitting there, like, having all the cheers, like, counted out in 10. Right? So,
Cute. You personalize it that way.
yeah, always something about booking, always something about recruiting, whether it's a recruiting video, home office is doing, a picture of you and your team. Like, you guys can take a picture, right, and say, oh my gosh, this is the support that you would have. I love my team, blah, blah, blah. And I always use a small product, but I always use a power tool too, because I want to create desire for them to, realistically, they're probably not going to buy it. I mean, it happens, but
That's a great booking tool.
booking.
So when you're doing your product posts, like, are you posting, what do your product posts look like? Are you grouping things together and putting 5 or 6 picture images in there so they can see, like, all the different cookware if you're doing a cookware post?
Selections.
It's very minimal. I just do one picture most of the time. I go in Canva and just throw a couple things. You can't show everything.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. And then if you go, I actually am very bad. Like, she's really good at selling and cooking shows. Like, I'm really bad at selling. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah,
She
you
always
like
says
it?
that. You always say that.
Well, I know, but I can't talk about a rock for 30 minutes. Like, here you go, I put some chicken in, it goes in the microwave, goes here, great. You either like it or you don't. I can't talk about it for, like, I can't paint the picture like you can, right? So if you go on the website and you search Food Chopper and then you click on the item, when you're logged in as a consultant, you can some of the products have it on the bottom. It says for consultants only, and it tells you how to sell it, right? It gives you the words. You can take the words, you can copy paste them, you add a question, boom, you just sold a Food Chopper. And some newer items, they actually started switching it, so they're like, you know what, if we're selling it to consultants, why don't we just sell it to customers? So they put the good wording in with the product. So that's where I get most of my words. And then I try to add it to whatever I use. Like, we use the chopper for onions because I hate crying. And you just make it a little personal, and so that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So you say you use Canva when you're creating your graphics? Okay.
So Canva.com.
So much easier on a computer.
Yeah.
Else being able to click and
You could Google how to use it.
Yeah.
I don't like it
You
here.
just gotta play with it.
Here,
You just
isn't it?
gotta start somewhere.
That's just it. You just gotta start somewhere. Pick a platform. Pick Cinshare. Pick Post My Party. Pick something. But stick with it.
Yeah.
Can we give it up for Claudia and let's go eat dessert?
Next time your parents come in, you're invited again.
I'm sure Gigi will be like, when can we go back?
Yeah, she'd be like, Ma.
Yeah.
I know I'm coming. And then Marco's gonna be like, but I want to come too now. But listen, we got shit to him too, so.
Laura, you want me to hit finish on this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna go have dessert. So